Rundown January.
You can't
I'm
double
fired
clap.
up.
What the fuck was that?
I'm fired up. That was like I'm ready to go because we have a new ad. We have a new sponsor today, new way to do this. So hopefully everyone just had to watch like a 15-second ad. Now I'm going to cram one because we can't get the second ad to work. So our boy Lewis down there has sold this. Leesa.com. There's going to be a link below it. LEESA.com. What do? Do you guys want to know what they do? They sell mattresses, high-end mattresses at lower cost because they don't have the overhead of like all these fancy places. So what they're doing for Stoolies, you go on, you give them your email, and you get a $75 credit for free. So you just give your email, you get $75, no expiration date. Bam, boom, done. Great ad. Let's get into this. NFL playoffs.
Just snuck your ad right on him.
That was great. Turning groups. They're probably, someone said this because everyone's probably seen sporting news, by the way. Cunts. They basically wrote an article that fucking trashed us while putting my wife's name, Renee Portnoy, in the URL because they know they're just out for clicks and whatever. I want Peter Chernin. If Peter Chernin really likes us, he'd tweet out, I wish all these cunts would shut up. That would be like such a power move. I'm going to keep my fingers crossed, but I don't see that happening. It would be a great show of solidarity, though. What a wild card weekend. We'll start with the first one on Saturday night, which the Bengals versus the Steelers. One of the craziest games you'll ever see. I kept saying The Last Boy Scout. Have you guys both seen that movie?
Of course.
Great movie. I honestly thought somebody may die. Like at the bottom of a pile, someone gets stabbed. Pac-Man Jones pull a gun like out of his pants. That was chaos. Marvin Lewis.
Marvin Lewis has to have like something over the owner. It's straight blackmail that he still has a job. 12 fucking years in a row. 12. It's crazy.
Never. No, what's crazier is there are actually like a good amount of Bengals fans that are cool with him staying. They're like, well, we don't want a new, like, you know, we go to the playoffs every year. I got into it with a Bengals fan a couple days ago. They're like, why would you want to, you know, go and search for a new coach? You can't have a team play like this in a crucial moment where they're just puking all over themselves. That was so Cincinnati. Like, that was all you needed was a first down, and the game's over. And you can't hold. Do you guys agree with me? I said this in the rewind. People who are saying they should have just kneeled the ball and then kicked a field goal. That I disagree with.
I disagree with that.
That's playing to lose. That's playing to not lose, not playing to win.
I put
hindsight. Nobody would do that ever.
No one would do that.
Yeah. The fumble. I put 0% on Marvin Lewis. That is just bad. I don't want to say bad luck, but that's a play that happens. The fact you have guys, not only at the end, basically running wild throughout the game. You can't get them off the field. It looked like an FAU versus Miami, like
it was
chaos
great
game.
though. But that was great. It was great theater. It was
I loved it.
Loved it. And Munchak pulling the guy's hair was amazing. Guys, people throwing shit at Roethlisberger was like, that was Thunderdome shit. I loved it.
That was honestly that was the WWF mixing with the NFL for real. And I wish every game could be that way. I wish that was the way football was at all times.
The problem is the fine line. If you can contain it at that level, but eventually someone will get murdered. And then Elio was talking, not to keep bringing him up, he was dead serious. He's like, I thought someone was going to die, and then like football would be ruined forever. Like that theoretically could have happened in that game. But it's awesome theater. If you don't actually like that, if you're going to go high and righteous and mighty, be like, that's disgusting. Now, if you're a Bengals fan and you care about winning, you're never going to win with that. And I don't like Merrill Hodge. I saw Merrill Hodge being like, it's not Marvin Lewis's fault when guys go between the white lines. That's the weirdest, most bizarro world logic.
Well, I think he's probably saying at some point, you have to be like a rational human, and the players have to take some accountability.
Right.
Well, when things like that are happening all the fucking time, it's coaching. It's an organizational thing.
Right, and this isn't new from Vontaze Burfict. He always plays out of control. He's always good for one of these penalties. So, like, that's if you don't stop it before, stop it in training camp, this is exactly what's going to happen. In the most crucial point, he's going to do this.
It goes back to, we talked about this point before the season started, when like the Cowboys are excited about like full-scale brawls during preseason. It's like, why do you condone that? Because that's just going to rear its head later. And perfect. There was a video I posted. He had like a worse hit the day before on like a guy. He headhunted a guy who wasn't even to play. So things chaos. Real quick, if you're the Bengals fan, Dan, I thought that was a fair point. Especially, by the way, so a Bengals fan spit on a Steelers fan and peed on him.
Oh, peed on.
Which is way worse. Peed on the guy, punched him. I will say there's a lot of things I like here. I agree with you when you're a Bengals fan and the Steelers are a very successful franchise, relatively speaking. You can pee on that guy. The Steelers, I thought this was like an old video. They were doing the Dougie, the mayor, like that Pittsburgh one. Pittsburgh acting like they're the Bengals. But it may be just to rub it in the Bengals' faces. So that type of dynamic, like, hey, we're dead. We have no chance to beat Denver because I don't care. I don't know what they're saying about Roethlisberger. And by the way, Cincinnati, he can't throw the ball more than 10 yards. So stop giving him
more than 5 feet. He couldn't throw it more than 5 feet.
They're in this
The guy's arm is like hanging.
They got 10 guys 30 yards back. Like, wake up. So the Steelers have no chance versus Denver. They know it, yet they're still doing the Dougie, I think, just to rub it in the Bengals' face, and that's how you get peed on. Big Cat.
Yeah, the formula, I wasn't joking. There needs to be like a law where there's a formula. If it's your team, how long it's taken them to win a playoff game. So I think the Bengals are in 3 decades now. They haven't won a playoff game. Times the distance you are from the ocean plus or minus the average temperature in winter. So like the cold weather climates obviously don't minus it as much. And that is your leniency for breaking the law like 3 hours before and 3 hours after a big playoff game. So like if you piss on a Steelers fan, that's fine. You know what? It's cool. Like you're good. If that was a Patriots fan, if that was a Seahawks fan, throw them in jail. If that's a Bengals fan, they get to do that kind of shit.
I said on Twitter, there's no coming back from that loss. The only way to come back from that loss is to pee on someone. That's a trump card. Like a Steelers fan can be like, "What about that time in 2015? I peed on you. I fucking peed on you." So that's the only possible way you can save a little bit of face and have a little bit of dignity, ironically, is to pee on another person.
Question for you, both of you, more of a football question. You're starting a team tomorrow. You have 2 guys. You take McCarron or Dalton, Big Cat?
That's tough. It's crazy that is now tough.
I feel like Dalton is going to just crash and burn now. Like he had his shot. He had the cool hair. He had the vibe going. And now it's just like, I think he's going to be worse than even before.
The only reason I stick with Dalton is he's done it over a longer period of time in the NFL. Like A.J. McCarron, it's one of those things. Who knows once people have film on him, can he like adjust? Can he be that quarterback?
I'm one of those.
It's crazy that this is a discussion. That's really what the point is.
I'm one of those guys that I don't think most NFL people put stock in, but I do. Like, a winner is a winner. McCarron's clearly a winner. He made plays that I don't think Dalton's made in his career down the stretch. He
what did
was
you think
quick.
of him throwing out Tom Brady talk?
I don't know about that, but he was quick. He made some decisions that flew under the radar, like when the pocket was collapsing, like instantly taking off. Like smart little 3-yard. I would take McCarron. And on the opposite end, we're not really going to talk about the game. The play of the game, you like this, you like that. Kirk Cousins took a sack and fumbled at the end of the first half when he could have literally stepped like 30 feet. He had the whole field to step into. He just sat there. His ticker didn't go off. What?
That's the worst part for Redskins fans. Like, I don't think that loss, they didn't expect to win a Super Bowl, but Kirk Cousins played just good enough this year that they're going to give him a long-term deal. And that's not going to be good.
And while we're on this, we'll switch subjects a little bit. What did you guys – did you see Nate's blog on RG3's locker? Like, what he had in his locker? He had Hulk, like, figurines, and then this basically letter from the Redskins that had to be custom made because I don't think anybody else would have that. It basically said in so many words, be nice, like 100 times. KFC, what do we have on this guy who, when you really think of it, is one of the faster crash and burns like in the history of the NFL, and he seems like he could go Vince Young, like suicide on us soon.
There's something wrong with him. I think he's like mentally not there. He's almost like a child, like the toys and like the little poems and the girly quotes. He's like a grown man body, but like a little boy on the inside. Don't you feel like this has to come up in like draft scouting? Don't you think there has to be somebody who like, yeah, all right, this guy's got all the tools, but he's a fucking weirdo loser. He's just a loser in life. I wouldn't have touched that guy. It blows my mind that he ever even had the ceiling that they thought he had.
Big Cat?
I think it goes back to Baylor. If he's like a legend there, doesn't he have a statue there already?
I think he does.
So I mean, he is Baylor football. If he goes to an Oklahoma or an Alabama, they're like, he's probably good, but they're like, yeah, this guy's a little wacky. He's not like our other guys. Baylor football, people were probably like, this guy's the best ever because he actually was the best ever there. But yeah, he's kind of lost it. I mean, he lost it a long time ago. Remember the story that he was like playing catch with himself after they basically like not cut him, but sat him. But yeah, and it's crazy to think because what was it, 2012 when he was in that game against the Seahawks in that season when he was dynamic that season. Yeah. His legs just can't hold up. He hurts himself every 2 seconds.
So moving on to the second game, the Vikings, who are pretty much in control. By the way, all these games, and I know this is cliche, it I think almost applies more to college football than the NFL, but you just got to keep playing. Like, these games never end. I mean, the Vikings dominate for 3 quarters. Then they fall behind. They come back, and this guy Blair misses a 20-yard field goal. Just about the worst way to lose. The internet goes crazy. The Seahawks say they knew it was going wide because God's a Seahawk fan. This guy, this Blair guy, you gotta stay in full pads. You gotta sprint off the field, get into your car, and just drive. Like when Forrest Gump just ran, you just drive. You just keep filling up the tank, and you just go, go, go. Maybe never be heard from again. Like, that's the only option here.
Well, I mean, as opposed to, he was a man about it when he just sat there and took his beating. I thought he kind of earned some points back. There's no forgiving that, but when he sat there and was just like, it's all on me, I fucked this up. I respect that. I know what you're saying. I would be gone. I'd change my identity. I'd leave the country because I'm a coward, and I would be like, I'm out. But I got to give him respect for taking that beating. That was, as someone who's sitting at home not watching his team, I want as much heartbreak and gruesome death as possible. So the Bengals and the Vikings for me are all I got right now. I love it.
As bad as the Bengals loss was, I think this was 10 billion times worse because the Bengals are the Bengals and they'll shit down their leg and they play that undisciplined football where it's like you never know what's going to happen. The Vikings outplayed the Seahawks. They outplayed them for the entire game. It was freezing cold. Blair Walsh misses that kick. And it's not only Blair Walsh, it's Adrian Peterson fumbling, which happened in that NFC Championship game when he fumbled twice in the third quarter. Blair Walsh missing a kick like Gary Anderson. It's like the Vikings had all their bad history, just combined it into one game and threw it at him. And I did that thing. You remember that curb when Larry David's like, I sometimes pretend I'm like deaf and it's not so bad. I had to move my car this morning. I got my car, it was 0 degrees, and I pretended that I was a Vikings fan for like 10 seconds, and I wanted to shoot myself. Because I know that feeling. You wake up, it's the middle of winter, there is nothing good for the next 4 months, and your life has just been totally ruined. So, I'm sorry, Vikings fans. That was like the worst loss you could have.
Also, all those plays you mentioned, plays that like frustrate me to no end is like the snap that went over Russell Wilson's head. So it's just a total fluke busted play.
That also makes it like having that happen to the Seahawks makes it 10 times worse. Russell Wilson and his God shit and the 12th man and all that nonsense. Losing that game to anybody's brutal. Losing it to the Seahawks extra.
I'll say the Seahawks do have that kind of like weird luck. It's kind of like Cardinals luck in October, but I think Russell Wilson's maybe the only quarterback in the NFL who makes that play. Who's able to compose themselves that quickly, get the ball, and avoid the rush and make that throw. I mean, that was a really, really...
Oh, no, it was a great...
That's what Russell Wilson does. He does plays like that.
It was a great play by him, no doubt, but it's like it was almost like a trick play. It just was... It worked because everyone got so discombobulated. Lace is out. I think that's on purpose because of the cold. They didn't want to spin it with the gloves because that was the second time. I don't even know that that's real. Like, is that
well,
like a
it's certainly not real from 24 yards or wherever the fuck it was.
No, he just biffed it. He biffed. Are we going to talk about the best video ever? I watched it like 3,000 times.
All the reaction videos.
That video was a B- till.
Oh, Todd. I'm so sorry. And then him screaming, oh my God!
You fucking piece of shit!
Was the best. I could not stop laughing. Or Troy. Troy.
That I was like, thought the video was kind of ending. Like I had my thumb on like the ready to move on when she said that. I was dead serious. Before I saw you tweet about Dan, I already was like, is that a t-shirt? Are enough people gonna?
It's borderline. And it's also, someone aptly said it after, the fact that Troy is still in his pajamas at 3:30 in the afternoon means that game was the only thing that mattered to his life.
that lady.
Do you think she was being sarcastic?
No, that's what makes it. She was serious. It makes it 1,000 times worse. It's just like it was the perfect. It was the perfect timing. It was everything. It was brilliant.
And his response was like, couldn't have been better because it was so primal and like, it wasn't fake. He just launched that hat. Oh my God!
All right. There's no second commercial. We can't figure that out. So whatever. Golden Globes last night. Highlights, lowlights. Hey, Kevin, I will say, the fact you don't like Ricky Gervais is like stunning to me. I mean, he's brilliant,
dude. He's so obnoxious,
This
so
is
pompous. He definitely thinks he's funnier than he is.
No,
he definitely is that guy who's like, I'm gonna go to the Golden Globes and make these edgy jokes that like the celebrities are gonna get all ruffled about. It's like
you don't think like the Ben Affleck, like that's more than ruffled. That's like so far below the belt that it's funny, but no one else would say that joke.
I don't even know what you're talking about because I like zoned him out.
He basically made a joke about Affleck like cheating on Jennifer Garner.
Yeah, I mean I feel like that's kind of like cheap shock value, like vulgar over the top humor. That doesn't.
Do you like The Office?
Yeah, I like The American Office. I know he was like part of it, but a writer or producer or whatever. But him as like a comedian and him when he's in the show, no thanks.
That's such a weird. You have the weirdest opinions sometimes, Kevin. It's like the Paul Simon thing.
Yeah,
like, you not liking Paul Simon and Ricky Gervais is just like you're not a human being.
Like Ricky Gervais is literally like brilliant. Like everything he touches is hilarious and he's brilliant. So it's strange.
Stay behind the scenes. Do all that shit behind the scenes then. When he gets out there with his stupid little accent.
I thought he was funny last
You're
night.
Intimidated by the accent. No,
it's not intimidation. I hate everyone with a British accent. It makes it that much worse when it's like you think you're funny and then you do it with your dumb accent. You sit there with your beer like you're a tough guy and it's just like, you're lame.
Intimidated by the accent. I get it.
And then the other highlight, obviously, was Leo, like, doing that face when Lady Gaga brushed up against him. That went viral, Big Cat.
The show itself, I couldn't, like, it was pissing me off so much that they kept on bleeping everything. Because it felt like, the Golden Globes is that weird show where it feels like everyone's drunk and, like, on cocaine and, like, everyone's having a good Hollywood time, and you want to feel like you're in on it. And then they bleep out every fucking funny joke. And I was like, what the hell's going on here?
I usually like the Golden Globes. I thought yesterday was, like, really boring. I went to bed before it ended.
Yeah, me too.
I will say, Big Cat, the people haven't always got it. It's sneaky. One of the funniest undercurrent stories. I thought we've told it, but people seem confused when we mentioned it on Twitter. So this lady in the green dress, she won something. I never heard of her. Gets up. She's like, we got rejected 6 times, and nobody liked our show, and we'd pitch and get rejected, and finally this person saved it. For those who don't know, Big Cat and I went to Hollywood, what was it, like a year and a half ago?
Yeah.
And we pitched a Barstool, kind of the rundown or versions of a show to like Hulu, Comedy Central, HBO, True TV. We went 8 places. And literally after every meeting, we'd look at each other and be like, we just fucking killed that. Like, when are we going to get our offer? We thought we did so good. We turned down HBO and accepted Comedy Central's offer. We didn't get one call back. Nobody had any interest. But
we should do like a full podcast about it because I'm thinking about it, and it was the best, sneakiest, best story was IFC. We sat in IFC did a whole meeting. They seemed to like us. And then at the end, the producer was like, yeah, we got pitched like this stupid show about the Gronkowskis. They're misogynistic assholes. Dave, like almost jumped across the table and strangled him. He's like, what do you mean they are? Like, that's our guys. Those are our guys. Like, ready to fight the guy right there. And the meeting just ended in the most awkward, terrible way. We're like, all right, we'll see you later.
The Gronk should know that. We literally were signing papers when he's like, yeah, we have the Gronks in there. They're the worst. I tried to stab the guy in the neck with a pencil. The Hulu guy, I thought the Hulu guy was going to buy the show.
He almost sucked our dicks right in front of everyone.
Yo, you guys love this story more than any story of Barstool.
It's funny. It's a good
I have heard this story
hater, Kevin.
250 times. It's a year and a half old. We're still doing it.
And
we haven't told it to the Stoolies, though.
Another side part of it is, like, I guess California was going through this huge, like, crisis with energy or water or gas or something. Everyone's, like, trying to be super, like, eco-friendly. We rented the biggest fucking car, and everyone commented it needed like 8 spots to park, and there were all these little cars. It didn't work out great. Another grapevine.
Barstool goes to Hollywood.
It was the most Barstool goes to Hollywood thing ever. Kevin, if you could have seen how hard they were laughing at the stories we were telling.
Comedy Central was about to make us billionaires, Kevin. Like, the way they were laughing at us, whatever. I still don't know where. Maybe they lost. Maybe they had the wrong number. Like, they've been trying to call us.
Or they literally, like, died from laughing too hard. It was like they were, like, on the ground, like, stop it. I'm going to die from laughing. And nothing.
They're going to call back.
Crickets. We literally were like, no, HBO is not the right fit for us. LeBron hit in the face, this Vine, awesome Vine. These are the things that I live for. Big Cat, did you read what I wrote about this? So yeah. This was very true. When we were in the tournament, the Purple Starfish tournament, this was pretty much Big Cat and I's only job was to, like, grab the balls after they shoot and pass them out. There's too many balls, too many people screaming at you for the balls. In this dynamic happens, like, a lot. Of someone calling for it, getting one as you're releasing. And the guys on our team, I don't know what would have happened if, like, Josh Boone got, like, a chest pass off the face.
I mean, he hated us anyway. But yeah,
that's what I mean.
The worst moment for any ball boy is when you pass it to someone who's already holding a ball. Now, times that by a trillion when you throw it off someone's face and it's LeBron James. So, yeah, I think that guy's probably fired. He probably didn't I don't know where that game was. He probably didn't make it back to Cleveland. But thank you from the bottom of my heart, because that was so satisfying.
Coach Ross, imagine doing that on Coach Ross's. He hated that. Coach Ross was the coach of our team. Hated Big Cat. Like our boy Deuce was like posting up Big Cat warm-ups, and he screamed at Big Cat. Oh man, those are the days. You got anything on this You got anything on this KFC? All right, moving on. We've had a bunch of technical difficulties, so we'll see how this rundown. I think it's been a pretty good rundown, or maybe not. Depends if you think we're funny or not, I guess. Trump says the NFL is getting soft. No, the country is getting soft. The NFL is getting soft just like America. What do you got on this, Big Cat?
I mean, what I said in the blog, I hate people who say they don't watch football anymore because it's flag football. That's fucking bullshit. You still watch football. The rules have changed. Obviously, they need to change so people stop, getting smashed over the head all the time. Trump is just like Hillary. I just posted a Hillary blog, Hillary dabbing, which made me want to crawl out of my skin. Politicians pandering is like the most cringeworthy thing that can be done.
I will say it's a weird game to say like the NFL is getting soft when that was the most ruthless, like, chaotic game that he was referring to, I think, the Bengals.
And he referenced that game.
I know, that's what I mean.
Game. Right, I was watching. It was so soft. And he's talking about guys, like, I like talking about Lawrence Taylor and shit. Like, I don't know.
It's easy to do that. It's easy to just get up there and be like, I like hard-nosed football. I want everybody to fucking murder each other on the field. Because there's going to be, like, 200 million people who are like, yeah, I agree with you. It's lazy.
To his credit, he does hate the NFL. He tried to start the USFL, which failed. So he does hate the NFL. I will also say a quick Trump story. I blogged this. So there was that thing of the Muslim lady wearing the Star of David who was protesting silently at one of his rallies. She got kicked out. To be honest, I'm still not quite sure why she got kicked out. That may have been the most un-American thing I've ever seen.
How do you get kicked out from a silent protest?
That's what I don't understand. She stood up.
So, she was just standing there.
Yeah.
And they were like, "You're out."
That's Nazi Germany.
Yeah. No, it seemed like Nazi Germany. I'm a Trump guy saying this was not like the best look for the Trumps. Like, I don't think he saw it. She was back, but it still makes no sense. Like, and the lady they interviewed after, she was super well spoken. She's like, I'm just trying to show not all Muslims are like terrorists. People were being nice to me. I stood up. I got kicked out. Not a great look for America. But the picture of the dude who was sitting next to her wearing the camo Make America Great hat, looked like he hadn't left a farm in like 100 years, go to a Trump rally, and he gets stuck next to the Muslim wearing the Star of David. His face, you could just see it, be like, only me, Rufus. Like, you come to all your people and you're set. He just looked like so defeated sitting next to her. It's funny. The thing was wrong. It's one of the most wrong things I've seen in a long time. And again, coming from a Trump guy, you can't be kicking out the silent protesters. Bad look. Bad look. National championship tonight. Big Cat, there's no Clay Travis today.
We gotta have him on.
What?
Yeah. We got to have him on. He's been stealing. He's been upping the war.
We see differently. You think he's kind of in on the joke?
No, I think it's twofold. I think he's definitely stealing from us. Like, that's blatant. Some of the things he does. Like, he blogged. I think the first time he's ever blogged a sorority video was the other day when K Marco blogged one. I think he might be trolling you to get you riled up.
Okay, here's what I think he's doing. Because I don't think his intentional move was to rile us up. And he's been doing this a long time with Outkick. I've never, ever noticed him even close to infringing on, like, our lingo, our blogs. Never. You know, maybe a couple months ago, I don't know when it started, suddenly he's doing emergency press conferences. He's doing sale with merchandise, being like, please don't bankrupt me. Like, don't. He's literally, like, doing my exact unique shticks. That's when we start calling out. Here's what I think he's doing. I think he's a smart guy. He's trying to beat us to the south with our shtick. And when we grow big, these Southerners who have never heard of us are going to be like, you're copying Clay Travis, who copied us. And he's also leveraging us to get him in the North. Like, we're not getting on his Fox stuff. We're giving him a mouthpiece bigger for our audience. I think he knows he's done a great job with Outkick. Barstool's more successful.
He did invite me to his thing tonight.
What's his thing?
He's, like, doing a live stream of the game.
On Fox?
No, on, like, Outkick and stuff.
Get on Fox. Get on Fox, and then and even like the 6-8-12, like, I know he didn't say it originally, but that's what he's doing. He's repurposing what we do, and then all these Southerners being like, oh, these are great ideas, but there are ideas.
I gotta respect him, like, tripling, quadrupling, and quintupling down. Like, he just keeps doing it.
Yeah.
To the point that I'm kind of, like, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. Like, I think I have to align with Clay Travis just because he's fucking you.
But here's what he's doing. He's fucking all of us now. And he's smart. This troll thing, it, like, allows him to continue to do it. And the benefit he's getting is in, like, the people who don't know who we are, he's still using our stuff and introducing it to the South. And when we get there, they're going to be like, you're copying Clay Travis. My head will explode when that happens. So, and then by, like, accepting it and making more fun of it and going more outrageous, oh, it's a joke, I'm on to you, dude. And we'll say this about Clay. He cannot go toe-to-toe with me. Like, if
he's going to come on the rundown. He's going to come on the rundown this week. And you didn't even, amongst that entire speech there, you didn't even mention that he stole Rico Bosco's pick.
He stole San Diego.
San Diego State.
San Diego State.
I got a tweet from Rico. He took a screenshot of the Periscope where Rico, like, commented, and he was like, KFC, I know you don't really have a dog in this fight, but come on, tell me he didn't steal this from me.
Rico Bosco. I'll tell you what, that he's like the pit bull we leave, like, to roam free in our front lawn. And, like, you might be on the other side of the fence so he can't bite you, but he's gonna bark and, like, yell at you.
The question is, so that used to be Nate. Like, Nate was the guy below deck. Rico's, like, levels below Nate when it comes to that. We're going deep down with the
Rico's a pit bull, though. Rico like creates feuds, though. He comes up with them.
If you hear We went through like a couple, I don't know, maybe a couple years ago. There are always stories like somebody going mental in a post office. Rico's going to blow up the Massachusetts post office. They lost some sort of package he was supposed to be sending to us. And I mean, they better find that package or else there's going to be a major problem at the post office. Like, I don't know what he sent. He sent some sort of gift. It hasn't arrived because we don't sign for things here in case we're getting sued. And Rico is going...
That's such an underrated comment that needs more love. Like, we don't... It's like going through a divorce. You're like, no, I will never sign. Like, I don't want to get served. I don't go out in public. I wear a fake mustache.
We don't sign for shit. Only bad things happen when you get signed. We have, like, probably hundreds of thousands of dollars of checks at, like, the post office that couldn't get delivered, along with Rico Bosco's, like, package, which I don't know what it is, but he is literally furious that we haven't received it. And he's blaming it all on the post office.
Did you see, also, not to keep going with this, but did you see he says that the Doug Gottlieb's producers, like, put him through, like, 5, like, rounds of questioning? Because he has a feud with Doug Gottlieb, and he'll call in and try to, like, pretend that he's someone else to get on the show.
One of the strangest feuds, literally, of all time. We keeping you awake here, KFC? Fucking echo. National title. Who do you got?
This is one of those games, I'll fully admit, I'll usually talk myself into Clemson. I've been in a hole, I've been cold, so I just went Max play Bama before, like, the minute I woke up this morning, and I'm just forgetting about it.
KFC, do you watch this game?
What's up?
Fucking echo.
National championship.
I can't tell you how little I care about this game this year. It's, I think, the worst it's ever been. The build-up has been terrible. I just feel like they're not even playing tonight. It's like there's no buzz around it to me. I feel like the lead-up was bad. The New Year's Eve disasters, this year, I can't care less.
Oh, and you said that right. Nobody ever says that right?
Always get that right. Come on.
It sounded almost weird sounding right. That's why I'll stick with wrong, because it sounds right. I'm going to go with Clemson. I'm still not sold on Bama. I know it's one of those things you want to shoot yourself in the head if you do it, but I'm gonna go with Clemson to keep it close. I think a mobile quarterback could help. But you're right, KFC. The build-up, it's all because of that New Year's Day fiasco in which nobody watched the lead-up games, which is maybe hurting or helping me because I didn't see any of Alabama beat Michigan State, so that game didn't even exist in my head.
That's helping you because, and this is obviously, I fully admit that I'm an awful, awful gambler, but this is like gambling 101. Don't do it. But all I can think about is the beatdown that Alabama put on Michigan State, and I don't want to be on the other side of Alabama again when they start doing their thing.
You're right. So I didn't see that game. And by the way, of all the crazy things, I was reading K. Marco's blogs, that the NCAA is not going to change like when they play these games, like they're doubling down on it. I just don't know how anybody could be that stupid in that position of power. It's mind-boggling. So that's the rundown. Do we have anything? Any post? Anything? No.
We can't. I feel like we're from the fire of the Al Jazeera fire is like a forest fire that now pops up everywhere. Like we put it out, and now just like hot spots will pop up on the internet every day.
I cannot believe out of all the shit I've said on the internet, a fucking Al Jazeera joke is what they decided like that was too far.
And
it's crazy.
And then they. And it's not far. I had an interview today. That actually is one of the most Barstool on-point jokes in my mind because there is definitely an element of truth in that, like, that people really think that. And it goes so deep on so many different levels with, like, people being afraid of Muslims and getting that confused. It's a perfect Barstool joke. It really is. And if you pull that out of context and then they just go into everything else, that's, like, open as pin. I mean, the people who are writing these articles, they openly sit there like, we never heard of Barstool till, like, 4 days ago.
Did you see the sporting news? The sporting news basically, like, slyly threw in Jamel Hill to basically make it seem like we harassed her. When we have nothing to do with her. She's like, we've never had a run-in. They were just like, and Jamel Hill talked about harassment online. So now everyone who reads that's like, well, thankfully there's like maybe 4 people who read sporting news, but those 4 people are like, wow, Barstool like went after a black woman.
Jamel Hill like requests our T-shirts. She wears them on air. That's what I even though I think Katie Nolan's like a fake feminist, I wish they'd like call her for a quote because she's actually like a pretty good probably defense for us since they look at her now as like the leading voice in women's whatever she is now. But she's always, to her credit, thoroughly straightforward. Like, they're my inspiration. People who know us, it's just crazy. It's just so fucking stupid. But whatever.
I will say this about the sporting news, though. That picture of Peter Chernin in, like, the caveman fur holding the stool. We should put that on the site, too.
Dude.
Like, weaponize social media with the caveman Peter Chernin right underneath it. It's like, you guys are doing our job for us. You're making this easier, you idiots.
Do you think Chernin ever thought when like he was going to buy us that he would end up on the sporting news in a caveman Photoshop? That happened fast too. That wasn't like 6 months. That was 3 days, and now we're there. And dude, these people who are tweeting Peter Chernin like you should be ashamed of yourself. I like feel for my safety, dude. The check's cashed. Like I don't know what you want to say. The papers have been signed. Get the fuck out of my face.
That would be the greatest trick the devil will ever pull. To be like, you know what? I'm out. I don't want any part of this. Like, you guys keep the money. You keep your stubbornness, and you guys own it. It's
that
yours
was the best
again.
too. One part of it was like, we'll see. What if Peter Chernin wants to sell this thing because they're too vulgar? I was like, oh no, don't sell it. That would be terrible.
Fucking millionaires? Oh no, don't do that. Oh my god.
Oh man. Yeah, it's a wild world out there. It's a wild world. All right. Talk to you guys later.